Hello family, you're welcome to February and this is our first video for this month. I know you've been waiting for this video and yeah, we're releasing it to you. So on this channel, we talk about practical problems that our kids face every day and how we can also help bring practical solutions to these problems as well, right? So today we're talking about 5 quick facts about emotional intelligence, right? How your kids can maintain emotional stability and how you can help them maintain it. So number 1, you are in charge of your emotions and your reactions, right? So that's the first thing, and you have to understand that no one makes you to feel or react a certain way, right? Your emotions are your own and you can choose how to respond to them and how to express them to others. That's what you need to tell your kids. So the next thing you need to note when telling your kids this is that your kids will need time, right? They will need time and your coaching to practice this boundary, right? So how do you start? You need to start by leading them to recognize and label their emotions and digging into why they actually feel those emotions, right? It's not just about labeling it. You need to also dig into it and how they feel in that certain emotion. So help your kids identify emotional patterns or triggers, right? Because that's like very, very different from it differs from every kid. So while external factors such as people or circumstances can influence their emotions, they have the power to choose how to respond to those emotions. You have to let them understand that they are not puppets, right? They're not puppets emotionally controlled by someone else. That's number 1. So number 2, you are not responsible for the emotions and reactions of someone else. That is very, very important. It's a very, very, very important point. So I want you to listen to what I'm going to be saying about this point. So just as no one can make your kids feel or react a certain way, they can't force someone else to also feel or react a certain way. So it's a two-way stuff. It's not just about them. It's about them and also the partner or whoever they're relating with. Yes, they can influence other people, right? Yes, they can influence other people, but they cannot control the emotions of others. Influence and control, they are very, very different, right? So embracing this truth can give them confidence in respectfully expressing their own emotions. And also when bringing out these emotions, they do it without the burden of trying to control someone they can't control, right? When they understand this, they do it without that burden. So also they can acknowledge someone else's response by saying something like number 1, I can see that you are sad, you're hurt, you're angry, you're disappointed by what I said, right? Owning to that responsibility is very, very important. So for them to understand that it's not just about them, it's about the other person as well. The third one is you can be empathetic without taking on someone else's emotional burdens, right? That I'm going to be drawing a thin line in that. So empathy is understanding how someone else is feeling. However, understanding someone else's emotions doesn't mean that you should, take doesn't mean that your kids should carry this burden around and probably take these emotions as their own. It becomes a burden in the long run and becomes a very big issue in the family. It can also affect their output in school and everything. So grasping this distinction ensures that they remain compassionate while still prioritizing their emotional health. So where am I now? Number 4. Let's just say 3. 4. You get to decide what personal and private information to share and with whom you share this information with. A lot of kids don't really understand how to keep information to themselves, and it's very, very bad at some point. During their tween and teen years, rushing into friendship can be a common practice, right? Every child wants to be every child's friend. Every child wants to become every child's friend. So that's how the problem is, and they need to practice that. Because of this, they strive to get peer acceptance. So, however, this can lead to oversharing personal information with people without a proven track record of trust. So you need to teach your kids that they can move slowly into relationships, right? Instead of rushing into it, they can move slowly into relationships, to establish trust and mutual care. And not everyone will be in their inner circle of friends, and they also should not also be in everyone's inner circle. A lot of kids don't understand this, and it's a very big problem to them. You need to equip your kids to guard their heart by not catering to the needs of others in any way that undermines their own integrity or emotional well-being. So I think this is the last one now. So the last one is that's number 5 now. You must clearly communicate your emotional boundaries. You must clearly communicate your emotional boundaries. You must clearly communicate your emotional boundaries. So physical boundaries are easier to identify, right? For example, we have a boundary. Probably you're sitting down in a car. If they are traveling with their siblings in a car, there is a physical boundary, right? But talking about emotional boundaries is very, very hard because it is not visible. So you need to understand that people people will not see these emotional boundaries. They need to speak up for people to understand that this is actually the emotional boundaries they are keeping. So, however, drawing an invisible emotional boundary needs to be clearly stated, needs to be clearly articulated for someone else to recognize them, right? So, it's very, very easy because your kids will need to practice expressing their emotional concerns, their emotional needs, and their emotional boundaries without apologizing or feeling guilty about these boundaries. So you need to help them to get comfortable in letting someone know when a boundary is being crossed, when a boundary is being tampered with. You need to help them understand this. So also you need to help them know what to say and give them practice in saying things like, okay, I'm going to be sharing some of those things. There are some words you need to help them share. The first one is, I don't feel comfortable with that, right? Or we need to change the subject. Or the other things like, I don't want to hear about it. Some of these things are things that they need to learn how to say. They need to learn how to say no, learn how to say yes, learn how to say everything and anytime they want to say it. So I didn't want to leave you with number 5, so I'm going to give you just one bonus. You can learn to recognize the signs of overstepped boundaries. Overstepped boundaries, you need to let them understand that they can recognize overstepped boundaries. No, there are some body signs that come in, there are some body clues that come in when the boundaries are being compromised. Like sometimes it can be a weird feeling in the gut, right? And also increased heartbeat, right? When they are in a very tight corner, right? Sweaty palms, a general feeling of discomfort, stress, or shame in a relationship, right? It might look and feel different for your daughter or for your son. So you need to talk with your kids and talk with your kids about these signs and how they can look out for these signs in friendships and in dating relationships. So including being verbally disrespectful and also discounting someone's feelings, maybe sharing personal information about them with someone else without their notice. So I want to ask a question now. Which of these truths about emotional boundaries do your kids struggle with the most? Have you subscribed yet? Have you turned on notifications yet? Why not make a day with us on the 24th day of February 2024? And don't forget, every child is special and every child is a gift. So what do? Treat them as one. My name is Maurice Nelson and I'm the host and founder of Childish. See you in my next video.